Hi everyone, we are so lucky to have Jessica Mandel with us today. She's from the Movement Lab. As most of you will know, she's got locations in Sea Point, which is the biggest one, and then in Claremont as well. And I'm just going to hand over to you just to give yourself a bit of an introduction to everyone.
Thank you so much, Kat. Yes, it's wonderful to be here. And we have two studios with our third studio opening soon, currently under construction, which is exciting. And I've known Kat for many years as a wonderfully loyal client to the Movement Lab. So it's an honor to be here and yeah, excited to chat.
That is so true. We've known each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, what led you to become involved in physical health and wellness, and what drives you to keep going in this domain?
I was not ordinarily an athletic person, I would say. Growing up, I didn't think of myself as active or athletic. And I think that, I think it mostly stems from not enjoying running. The idea of athleticism is progressing as time goes along. But even when I grew up, there was still this thought that, if you weren't into athletics or running, you weren't necessarily an active person. And I have always kind of hated running, to be honest. So I just thought
Yeah.
I would lead a more sedentary lifestyle. And then I discovered Pilates through my mom, who all my life has been a Pilates instructor. She started when I was 6 years old. So, I kind of rolled my eyes at her through my teenage years, as rebellious teens do. But once she actually got me to try it and started, I absolutely fell in love. And I was
Yeah.
at university studying finance with accounting at the time. So I had very intense days of studying, seated at a desk. And so I was leading a very sedentary lifestyle, and that was having an impact on my mental health. I wasn't in the greatest place mentally. And I just found that after I would do workouts with her and workouts that I loved, like Pilates, I felt so much better. The endorphins, clearly were having their effect, but the mental clarity that I was able to achieve, the focus that I had in university lectures, as well as my study sessions improved. And so I realized that I wasn't actually a sedentary person or not an athletic person. I just hadn't found the movement that worked for me and that I loved. And once I found something that resonated for me, I realized that actually I adore movement, and it's my passion and my life's work, and something that I hope to share with as many others as possible.
Exactly. I had the exact same situation, so I completely resonate with that. Um, okay, perfect. The Movement Lab has grown immensely in so many different directions in the last few years. It's been very exciting. Where do you see this going in the future?
Thank you. Often, day to day, you don't feel that because it just feels like a grind and you're just trying to put one foot in front of the other. But then when you take a step back and look at the broader picture, you realize, geez, you actually have made quite a bit of progress. It does take time. Often people say like, oh my word, how did you grow it so quickly? And I'm like, it's not quickly to you. You may have only realized or heard about the brand a year ago, but we've already been around we've just celebrated our 8th birthday, and 8 years in a business
Yes.
is a long time. So, yeah, we've been doing it for a while, and it does take time to build up the reputation and the supply chain and the network that is needed to make it a success. But I think that as it's grown, we've realized its impact and its potential as a broader brand, not necessarily only offering classes, but a wellness brand, an umbrella brand that has many different branches. Already, we have our instructor training arm that offers internationally recognized courses. That is a huge part of our business. And we are training hundreds of students a year. In 2026, that will grow to thousands of students a year. That arm of our business has grown significantly. And those are students who are coming to us from all over the world to qualify in the internationally recognized Stop Pilates qualification. So they could do those courses in New York or London, but they choose to
Amazing.
come and visit Cape Town and do the courses with us, which is such an honor that we get to host these students. But that is a huge avenue of growth for us. And then, of course, we have the in-studio classes, and another avenue of growth is our online classes. You know, we've got an on-demand app where people join us every single day from all over the world, and they hook up to their smart TV and join in on the classes, which is so exciting. So there are a lot of different branches that we're growing in, and then we've built our network of suppliers in China. You know, we went to China earlier this year to visit our suppliers, and I'll go back next year as well, because our retail component is also growing, and it's something I'm really
Yes.
passionate about. I want to bring the best equipment possible to the market. I want our clients to be training with the best of the best, and we're constantly improving our samples. The moment we bring out a new product, we're already iterating on it, taking feedback from clients on what's not working to make sure that in our next order we've already improved that product and fixed whatever's not working, to make
Amazing.
sure that every class is as enjoyable for every client as possible.
That's amazing. Yeah, I do enjoy all of your classes. They're my absolute favorite, I must say.
Thanks, Kat.
um,
I'm so glad.
One thing I love to explore is trends, and one I found particularly useful as a woman is cycle syncing, which I've only started doing this year. Um, do you have one that you find particularly beneficial?
It depends. Look, you know, with cycle syncing and with every movement in wellness, it's hard to give a one size fits all because people are so
Yes.
unique. And what is important, what is the most important to me with any kind of wellness is intuition, intuitive movement, intuitive
Yeah.
eating. And I think the difficulty is that especially women have been preached to and said, you know, this is what you've got to do, this is what's right, this is what's wrong.
Mm,
Certain things have been villainized or vilified, other things have been deified and made to be, you know, the correct way for everyone. And that's simply
yeah.
not true. We are all
Mm-mm.
so different that the most important thing is being able to close off to the noise around you and tune into your own body, listen to it, and then honor what it is telling you. So, you know, that is tricky with cycle syncing when you are on birth control because it is masking your true cycle. So
Yes.
it is difficult to truly listen to what your body is saying when there is birth control masking those side effects. And I'm not saying
Yes.
anything necessarily against birth control. You know, it's got its place. And personally, I'm on an IUD. But am I experiencing my true cycle? No, because that IUD is giving me hormones which is masking certain effects, so I'm unable to listen to my body completely intuitively. If I was to say I'm going to truly cycle sync, I would need to come off the birth control, be more intuitive with my body, you know, but everyone has their reasons and their own journey, and it is important to
Yes.
honor your body, your journey, and do what's right for you. I'm always hesitant to say, you know, this is the right way to do it, or these are the classes you
Yeah.
should be doing at this time in your cycle, because if maybe you are in a low energy phase of your cycle, but for some weird reason you have more energy than normal in that phase because maybe you had a great night's sleep, then who am I to say, no, you shouldn't be doing a high energy class? You know, if you feel
Yeah.
great, go for it. So I am a huge I really am passionate about people being intuitive, not only with how they move, but how they eat, how they fuel their body. And once you're able
Mm.
to listen to your body, everything kind of falls into place.
It does. You're so right. It definitely does. I think that's the safest route is just to listen to what it's telling you.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And it's
perfect.
hard. Sometimes it's hard, you know, if we're on medications, if we're
Yeah.
on, there's so many things that mask the symptoms of what our bodies are trying to tell us. And when you are super stressed and in a high cortisol environment, when your adrenals are burnt out, you're in survival mode. So you can't listen to what
Yes,
your body's trying to tell you, because you've got blinkers on and you're just trying to survive. So often it's important to have like that digital detox or that reset, where you can actually all of a sudden hear what your body is trying to tell you, because you've removed all of the externalities. But that's easier said
exactly.
than done in the digital age that we live in. But yeah, if we can aim for that, that's amazing.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Let's chat about a common passion that we share, female health and wellness data. I've definitely been inspired by you and Lisa in a huge, huge way. In fact, my journey started with both of you. How do you lead by example, and why is it imperative for women to get fit and healthy, in your opinion?
Well, I touched on it earlier, but for
Yeah.
me, the most important is your mental health and your mental fortitude, your tenacity, your ability to get through difficult times. I said that my mom
Mm,
started Pilates when I was 6. She started teaching Pilates. And that was because she was going through a divorce with my dad. She was going through an incredibly challenging time personally. And that's what prompted her to find a wellness routine that would give her some reprieve from the difficulty she was facing every day in her life. And so for me, this is not just, it's amazing that Pilates is trending worldwide now and that it's had so much growth. But for me, this is not just a trend. This is a lifestyle. It has
no.
longevity,
Mm,
a practice that I hold dear to my heart and that I know I will do every single day of my life until I am able to. And I hope that is, well into my 90s, please. But yeah, it's not a fad, it's not a trend. It's a practice that will stick with you for life. And it is something that I see as a non-negotiable, because when I don't do it, if for some reason I'm on holiday or I'm unable to do it, I feel the impacts. I have less
yes.
patience. I become a little more grumpy. I'm not able to show up as myself in all of the spaces I need to, in my relationships, as a daughter, as a girlfriend, as a instructor, as a boss. I'm just not the best version of myself. When I am in a good routine, both with what I eat, what I consume, how I move, that is when I'm
Mm,
able to be the best version of myself for everyone else. And that is so important to me, and that is what I hope to share with others, because women carry such a burden in society. We are often the caretakers, the caregivers, and in order to be able to give back to everyone else, we have to fill up our own cup. And I see movement and
yeah.
exercise as a way to do that.
That's absolutely true. You're so, so right. It really does make a difference to the way it almost acts like a barrier with certain things. It allows you to sort of um, not react, it's kind of calms you down. Yeah.
And
Okay,
just to have
perfect.
that hour of your day where, some people don't have a full hour. If you're doing a half an hour class or an online YouTube,
Yes.
whatever you can get in is amazing. But the power of having a 1 hour class where you're not going to look on your phone, you're not going to have any distractions, you're dedicating it to
Yes.
yourself. You are walking into the studio space, and that sanctuary is yours and yours alone, to enjoy it. That is so powerful, and you are doing something really incredible for yourself.
Exactly. It really is. Okay, so one thing I love about the Movement Lab is the amount of biological knowledge that I've learned. The terminology, the way the muscles are connected, correct postures, how they react to each other, it's really incredible. I think it's such a crucial cornerstone when it comes to understanding how your body works, and you guys are very, very good at explaining all of this and giving the correct names to everything. What what made you decide to do that?
Well, that comes back to our instructor training. So all of our instructors
Yes.
are internationally qualified through Stott Pilates, which is a brand owned by Merrithew, a company in Canada. And so I think that's also important. As Pilates becomes trendy and it grows internationally, there are Pilates studios popping up on every street corner, which is amazing. We want Pilates to be more accessible. However, it is important to be a conscious consumer of anything, but also of Pilates, to understand how was your trainer taught. What courses and qualifications do they hold? The majority of instructors on our team come from an anatomy background, in that they either hold degrees as physiotherapists, as biokineticists, as professional dancers. These are our careers. It's not a 2-day course that you've done and all of a sudden you're teaching. So it's important, if you are at a studio, to inquire with your trainers, or it should be readily available via their website, how people have trained. Stott Pilates is the most internationally recognized brand of Pilates, and the reason that it is so respected worldwide is because it was developed by health professionals, by doctors, by orthopedic surgeons, by dancers. It's a host of movement professionals coming together to create a brand of Pilates that, when you go to a studio and they say they are a Stott Pilates qualified instructor, that they went through hundreds of hours of training and practice and rigorous examinations to ensure that you are in safe hands and that the instructor actually knows what they're talking about, which is really important, because when everything is so readily available, you can do anyone's class on YouTube. We have a duty of care as instructors to be providing quality resources and safe ways of moving for our clients. So I am really passionate about that. So is every instructor on our team. And our hiring process is a very long and arduous one for anyone who's going through it, because we want to make sure that every person on our team can uphold those values. And when a client comes with an injury or with a question, the instructor can provide the necessary information and the correct information to guide that client through their recovery, through their rehabilitation or pre-habilitation. We have many athletes preparing for marathons, triathlons, that kind of thing, and our instructors have the wherewithal to facilitate that journey.
Yeah. It's such a wonderful feeling as a client to have that kind of safety. That whatever you're going through personally, that your instructor is looking at you and making sure that you're doing the correct movement. You're not going to injure yourself. It's a really wonderful feeling. Okay, perfect. You've got such a diversified offering in terms of the different types of classes as well, that it really makes the Movement Lab stand out. How important is it to diversify one's exercise in terms of keeping motivated?
Well, I think it's important for everyone to have a diversified approach to movement. What I will say is that I think a big part of it is that I have severe ADHD, and I have my whole life. And if I were to do the same workout class every single day, I would get so bored that I would give up after a month or two, because I'll just simply switch off. If I know what's coming next and I can predict what the next exercise is, honestly, my brain kind of turns off. And I believe that that happens to clients too. And you can see it in class when a client kind of switches off. When you switch off, you lose that mind-body connection. You stop focusing in class and you lose your form, you lose your breath. You actually don't get as much out of class. So we always love to surprise and delight our clients with new repertoires, with new props, with new machines, with new class types. So there's always something new you can try, and that way your neuromuscular pathways are constantly being challenged and redeveloped. And though you never rely on muscle memory too much, you have to remain focused in class to get what is going on. So your workout is not just a body workout, your brain is engaged as well. And that's why I love to incorporate choreography in classes too, learning a bit of simple choreography, because your brain starts to focus on pattern recognition, and that helps to mitigate things like dementia later on in life. So, our
Yes.
brain is also a muscle that needs to be worked just as the rest of the body does too. And so we bring in a lot of that mind body connection, a lot of choreography, and we try to make it as accessible as possible. So every different class type has a version in beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So no matter where you are on your movement journey, you are welcomed into the studio, and then we will progress you from the beginner all the way through on your journey. We welcome everyone, and you will never get bored of your type of movement. There is always a new path to follow, a new piece of equipment to try, a new instructor to experiment with. So yeah, I think it started off with my ADHD, but we've seen that it really works from the business perspective.
It
And
does. It really does.
good, yeah, I'm glad. And I think it leads to longevity and membership as well. It helps us retain
Absolutely.
members. Yeah,
It's
good.
very exciting. You can kind of work out your timetable and then move it around as you need it to, and you get different things out of the different classes. It's very
Absolutely.
exciting.
Yeah, and going back to cycle syncing as well, we don't only offer high impact classes. If are on your period and
Yes,
you're feeling particularly low energy, but you still feel you want to get some movement, because movement during your period is amazing, particularly if you suffer
exactly.
from lower back pain, which a lot of women suffer from during their period. Lower back pain is one of the most common side effects or symptoms. But then maybe you want a slightly lower energy class. We have all of that on offer every single day in all of the time slots.
Mm,
So maybe you want to change from your cardio sculpt class to a mat fundamentals class on the first or second day of your period. And yeah, that's really important to support everyone, no matter where they are in their cycle or their movement journey.
exactly. Okay, so the next question is about music. It may seem like such a trivial background thing, but it can make all the difference in a class, especially if you're tired or you just don't have the energy to get through. It really pushes you. Um, Especially some of the classes. Some of the classes have different themes and different kind of like ravey music, trancey music to get you through. There's always something different. Do you think there's a psychological aspect to this?
Yes, I mean, I believe hugely in the power of music, both
Yeah.
negatively and positively. Like when you go to a class and the music just totally mismatches the vibe, it can ruin your entire class. Well, for me, it certainly can. Music plays such an important role in everything that we do, and each playlist for every class is curated. Our instructors almost have to be DJs at the same time as they have to be instructors. It's almost like a totally different job, because it takes a lot of skill to curate a 1 hour playlist that sees
Yes.
you through the roller coaster of energy in a class. The warm up, building up to a more strength flow, building up to the crescendo of the most challenging combination, and then bringing the energy back down, ready for the cool down and the stretch and the mobility. So it's like this journey that you follow in the music. And similarly, when you're doing, a cool down, you've just had a really difficult class and you're lying on your back, maybe doing a stretch. You don't want, a song with really negative lyrics playing, because in that moment of stillness, people are being very mindful and they're more in tune to the lyrics that are playing. So you want it to be something positive, something uplifting, or perhaps no lyrics at all, where they can just tune into their own body. So music, although a lot of people don't even notice it, I promise you, if it was bad, they would notice it. So it can be
Yeah.
seen as like a background thing, but it supports the entirety of the class and it takes you on a journey. And so you never want to fight against the music. You don't want to be screaming against it, and you don't want to be going off beat where it feels like the movement is literally clashing with the music. You want the movement and the music to flow together. And that's why most of our classes are beat driven. You move with the beat. So you feel that you are
Yes.
literally being propelled by the song. And when you feel that and you look around the room and everyone is moving in unison, it's such an uplifting, positive experience. And so, yeah, music has the ability to absolutely make the class. And I think
It
that
does.
the themed classes show that, when you have like a themed class by someone's maybe favorite artist. My mom loves ABBA and she did an ABBA themed class. And you just see the joy on everyone's faces. People sing along. It helps them get through a difficult exercise that maybe they wouldn't ordinarily have the endurance to get through. But because it's their favorite song and they want to push until the beat drop, all of a sudden they're able to access like a different level of endurance, which is so exciting. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoy the music in class because it's
Yes.
certainly really, really important to us.
It's one of my tools to get through. If I've had a bad night's sleep, I know that, like in your class, I'll get through because of the music. It's like a guaranteed. Okay,
Fantastic. Me too,
perfect.
absolutely.
Okay, so the next question is about incorporating, we actually spoke about this just now, incorporating a bit of dance in your Saturday morning class, especially make an effort to attend these classes. It has so many benefits, including promoting neuroplasty and boost BDNF. How important is this mind-body connection? Well, we've actually just spoken about it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is so important to understand what is happening in your body because if you are not in tune to your body, there will be symptoms that you miss. There will be things that you pick up when it is too late because you weren't listening to the symptoms of your body. I the mind body connection for me personally, I know when I'm feeling run down and maybe I would be getting flu in the next 3 days. I can feel it immediately and I dose up on my vitamin C, I dose up on my
Mm,
multivitamins. And, maybe hopefully in some cases I'm able to actually stave off that illness because I felt it coming on so early. And that's because as instructors, you are really in tune to the rhythms that your body goes through. And that all stems from our mind body connection, from being intuitive with everything that we do, including our movement patterns. And once you're able, it starts so simply. It starts with something as small as breathing. Breathing, we all do it to live, but yet most of us do it unconsciously. And then in class, we start to become more conscious of the breath, more intentional with the breath. And it starts at the base of breathing and then it moves throughout the body, that awareness of what is happening in the muscle, in the bone, in the ligament, creating this interconnected chain. We are one kinetic chain. Everything is so interlinked. And sometimes we lose that when we're in that stressful environment. And that's why coming into class and refocusing into the body is so important because your body has all the answers. It will tell you exactly what is
it
happening, what
does.
is wrong. And so we just need to learn how to listen to it and how to understand the signals that it's trying to tell us.
Absolutely. Okay, perfect. What is a self-care ritual that you revisit again and again?
I love self care. I indulge in it as often as possible. And I shouldn't even use the word indulge because that makes it seem like it's a treat. It shouldn't be a treat.
Treat.
It should be a
Yes.
non negotiable. It should be something that you do all the time to, as I said, like fill up your cup. But my most important self care ritual is sleep. I am absolutely pedantic with my sleep. And look, it's a luxury at this stage because I don't have kids. I think everything changes when you have children, and I'm going to have to find a new pattern then because for me, 8 hours of sleep is a non negotiable. And honestly, if that means that I say no to social arrangements because I know I want to be in bed by 9 p.m. on weeknights, then I will say no to those social arrangements.
Yeah.
I am I'm like a lunatic with my sleep. I put my phone and my laptop away. I try and have that digital detox necessary to enable me to have the best sleep possible. I go to sleep and wake up pretty much at the exact same time every single day, whether it's a Monday or a Saturday. I follow the same routine because I've just realized what sleep does for my body. I feel my best when I have that amount of sleep, when it's uninterrupted. And so why would I deprive myself of that, when I can do it?
Exactly.
So yeah, so it's really important, in the job that I am in teaching classes, there's huge energy expenditure. You are exercising and moving so much every day that your body is exhausted. Your muscles need that sleep in order to regenerate and to recover. And so, yeah, for me, sleep, I love it. I like the thought of going to bed brings me joy. I get excited. And so I hope everyone can find that kind of solace in their sleep patterns.
And it's so, so important for hormones, for everything. It's one of the most important. It's the yeah, it really is.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can feel it, right? Like I just feel
You
how
can.
terrible I am the next day. And if I have a choreographed sequence planned for my class and I didn't get a good night's sleep, I have difficulty remembering my sequence. I have
Yeah.
difficulty verbalizing my cues. It's like, word salad. I can't speak through my choreography. My words can't come out fast enough that my brain isn't working as fast as my body is moving. And I lose the synchronicity of that mind body connection when I don't have enough sleep. So yeah, you just feel it in everything. You feel it in your cravings the next day. I crave sugar the next day much more if I haven't had enough sleep. So it impacts every single aspect of our life, sleep.
Absolutely. Okay, so the next question is about community, and obviously the Movement Lab has a massive, really loyal and loving. I've only experienced wonderful things with the community, um, and it really helps when it comes to achieving wellness, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. What are your thoughts on community and getting you to wellness success?
I think community is so important in this day and age where we are online more than ever, and hybrid or remote work is growing in popularity. People can be completely isolated and not see one other human for weeks at a time. You can stay in your home office, work online, and not leave the house and not connect. And that is scary because connection is so important. Friendship is important. Community is important for your sense of being, your sense of belonging, your sense of self-worth. It has very far-reaching effects. And so, we have many clients every day who work a full 8 hours online. They don't see another human for those 8 hours, but then they come into the studio, they have their hour class, they see their friends in class. Often those friends they only met at the studio, but those are connections that they've made. They know where their favorite mat is. They know that that person sits in that spot. And it's just wonderful. It gives people a sense of belonging, and that is so, so powerful. I think that cultivating community is most effective when it's done from a top-down approach. Lisa is the most amazing, generous, warm, loving, kind individual. And I think that that filters down through the community. Everyone that she hires, it has a positive impact on their clients. Our instructors are wonderful people. They bring positivity and a warm
Yes.
welcome energy into the space rather than making it feeling intimidating or exclusionary, which often fitness spaces can feel like. It can be really scary to enter those spaces. And we really actively try and work against that. We try and make it as welcoming as possible, whether it's your 100th class or your very first class. We want you to feel at home in our studio. And so I think that that goes a long way in building community. And it's important to have an open dialogue between the owners or the management and the clients. You know, when something's wrong, we want you to come to us. We want to be open to any and all feedback, because that's our job. Our job is creating the space for you. And if you aren't enjoying it, you're not going to come back. So we want to know, you know, why something isn't working for you, so that we can change it and ensure that it is as positive an experience for everyone walking through our doors.
Absolutely. And it really is. It's a wonderful space. There's such a lovely mix of different types of women, different ages, and we all chat amongst ourselves, encourage each other. It's such a lovely feeling. It really is. Um,
Good. I'm glad
okay,
you feel that.
perfect.
Yeah.
Let's chat about your pet peeve, your health propaganda. What is something that has been thrown around in the wellness space that you know it just drives you up the wall?
Um, Gosh, it's like, how do you even choose? Um, Excuse me. I would say, look, it's so long reaching. This goes back decades, but it's diet culture, you
Yes.
know, and every generation it takes a new form. So, you know, when my mom was growing up, she was modeling and she developed eating disorders, and she speaks about this openly, and that was because of the toxicity that the modeling industry imposed on her. And you know, luckily she was able to get out of that. But diet culture is just, for me, the biggest plague on women that we have to face every single day, from birth all the way through our lives. It's something that follows us, and it's something that I rebel against and want to fight against, for me, but also for my clients, for my future daughters. It's so
Yes.
important. And diet culture is insidious. We sometimes don't even realize when it's coming up. You know, it's these fit, healthy influencers sharing what I eat in a day videos. For me, that is a complete no no. I don't believe in those videos at all. Once again, it goes back to everyone is so different. You know,
Yeah.
whether we realize it or not, what I eat in a day, that video has been edited, it's been manipulated. We don't know what that person, how that person is moving. We don't know what they ate the
Yeah.
previous day or the next day. You're not getting a full picture. It's showing you a
No.
distorted image, and it's trying to sell or manipulate a narrative. And, you know, no hate or shame to people that do that. A lot of people are completely unaware of the effect it has, you know, but it's these small things that we aren't necessarily even conscious of, that we are being fed, or that we're, you know, that's inherent, that has a lasting impact. And it's all of those small things that add up, you know, to how a
Yes.
woman sees her body, how a woman sees the food on her plate or the clothes that she wears. Yeah, diet culture, there's no small fix. It's never going to be easy, but we
No.
have to make strides to improve it. And you know, I feel like we were making improvements in, we were trying to make as many improvements as possible, and now we have GLP-1s and Ozempic and the misuse of Ozempic
Oh,
that is
yeah.
leading to people's eating disorders, and that to me is terrifying. These are life-saving medications for people, you know, who are suffering from diabetes and stuff, but as with anything, they are being misused, they're being overused, they're being overprescribed.
Yeah.
That is scary, and I feel like it's taken us back decades in the little bit of progress that we had made. So yeah, that
It
does
has.
frighten me.
It has. I've seen quite a few people that are taking it and they never needed it to start with. They were absolutely beautiful, and it's very scary. And like you said, these sort of diet things, medically speaking, can be so bad. I mean, you don't know, you can't ever compare. You just can't. There could be underlying issues, everything. It's a very, very dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, are there any Movement Lab upcoming events, workshops, collabs that we can all look forward to?
So I would say the biggest thing to look forward to is the launch of the new studio. I mean, who knows when it's going to be up? I feel like I've been teasing the launch of this new studio for months now, and I have, but it's because it's in a larger development. So, we can't do much until the larger development is complete. But it will be accessible for everyone in and around Cape Town. And there are studios within it. It's a very large space, pretty much the same as our Sea Point studio, which is very big. So there are many different rooms within it, and some of those rooms we've never had before. So exciting new class styles and class types. Our instructors are currently undergoing training to be able to teach those new class styles. So that is so exciting. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes. And then there are some new sub-brands that are launching of new products and new innovations that we've been working on. We've been working on a lot for the last 2 years, but as you know, the development life cycle of a product or of a service takes so long and goes through many different variations and rounds of iteration that when you see the final product, there have been years that have gone into it. So yeah, I'm so excited to launch everything, and I hope that it's what our clients have been wanting, and I think it will offer a lot more value to our clients, particularly those who are our most engaged clients who are on our subscription. That's the core of our studio, our subscribers who come generally every single day. Those are our most important clients who everything is tailored to. How can we benefit our subscribers even more? How can we get them to enjoy their classes even more? Are there new classes we think they should be trying, should be benefiting from? And so we have literally gone overseas, done training overseas, built out the equipment, and now we're training our instructors, and we look forward to launching that to our clients.
That sounds so exciting. I can't wait. Okay, perfect. So if anyone's trying to get a hold of you or see more, obviously your Instagram, it's huge, website, app. Is there anything I'm missing?
So our website is themovementlab.co.za, and you can find all of the info there. Our bookings app is the Movement Lab Bookings, and our on-demand app for online classes is the Movement Lab On Demand. But really the best place is to just check out the website. You can find everything there. And we would love to welcome you if you are not yet a client, and if you are a client, thank you. We will see you soon in class.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Jess. It's been so wonderful unpacking all of this with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. It's been an absolute honor, and it's wonderful to have you in class almost every day with us. And it's just wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.